1 year and 20,000 miles later, let's review Ryan's 2024 Jeep Wrangler and the Clayton lift kit that's under it. Finally, we've got Ryan's two-door back in the shop, and we did that for a specific reason, right? Ryan has owned this Jeep for over a year. We actually did the 1-year review down at Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, and we answered a lot of questions in there. One of the most frequently asked questions we get is what is the lift height and what are the size of the wheels and tires on here? Well, in today's video, what we wanted to do is kind of give you a 1-year review of the Clayton off-road lift kit that is under this Jeep. We will explain how well it's been riding, what the performance is like on road and off road, and then what we've installed off camera that we're going to talk about today. Now, of course, Clayton Off-Road is the sponsor of today's video, and they have been our absolute boys for over 2 years now. They're an awesome company, an awesome group, and we just love working with those guys. Stay towards the end of the video where they're running some really crazy deals this year for Black Friday, and we want to get into that towards the end of the video. But first, let's talk about how this Clayton off-road lift kit has been performing for over 20,000 miles on Ryan's Jeep. Well guys, to start this one off, if you haven't seen the 1-year review of Ryan's Jeep, let's explain first of what's on this Jeep. So what we started off with when it comes to the suspension it was about a year ago, actually in August of 2023, we drove up to Connecticut, had an installation done with Clayton Off-Road as well as locked and loaded 4x4, and Ryan installed a 1.5-inch ride-right suspension system onto his two-door Wrangler. So that's what we started with, right? So we got upper control arms in the front and the rear. We got the new springs. We got a nice set of Fox shocks. We actually decided to add on a Fox ATS stabilizer, new track bars front and rear as well, and then some other Clayton off-road goodies to really dial in that front axle. And after that, look at the height we got. So we're running a set of 35-inch tires and now a Rubicon chopped fender flares, which we could probably go up to a set of 37s on this. But the cool thing with this suspension system as the Overland Plus and the Ride Right is the fact that Ryan hasn't had to do really any maintenance at all to this suspension. Really the only thing to do was to retorque the nuts and bolts after about 500 miles, and then you just run it and enjoy it. With the bushings that are in the Overland Plus control arms, they're completely maintenance free and they don't even need any servicing. Just make a good peek at them every once in a while to make sure they're okay, and then just torque the nuts down on the control arms. But what we really liked about this lift kit and why we went with the Ride Right starting off was because Ryan pretty much ordered the cheapest Jeep Wrangler he could and wanted to try and keep that in the beginning. So we wanted to go with a suspension that was maybe a little bit more base when it came to the price, but not the quality. Clayton Off-Road gives you the ability to start off with something more base and then build up to however far you see fit. You want to start off with a good suspension system, so the Ride Right gives you that, but also gives you the ability to upgrade. And that's something that we haven't been able to talk about on camera, is what we've done to upgrade the suspension system since we installed that initial one, and in today's video we're going to go into that. But as far as the on-road driving handling of this, Ryan gave you the review of it when we did the 1 year. I absolutely love the way that this Jeep drives, as well as mine on the Clayton off-road kits. The springs, the control arms, everything is made in the USA, so it's super high quality, and those control arms are absolutely massive. We've seen the way that they're made. We've actually watched them go from the square tubing, cut them, bend them, put the knuckles on them, put everything onto it, and actually see what they are on the back end, and this stuff is really beefy. You don't want to lose your ride quality when you lift a vehicle, and that's what we went with this. We didn't want to go too crazy where we're doing coilovers, long arms, all that stuff. Ryan obviously drives almost 21,000 miles in just over a year, so this thing sees a lot of daily driving as well as trail riding. And as we talk about what we did to this Jeep since we added on the Ride Right kit, this is the bulk of it right here. So a few months back, we went down to Joe at Locked and Loaded and had the rest of this kit installed. Now when I say that, being that we started with the Ride Right, we didn't get all the control arms, as well as we were missing a couple components to really make it more off-road capable. The best thing about Clayton Off-Road is that when you buy a Ride Right though, even if you decide to go up in lift height or you want to add more control arms or add maybe different sway bar links, you can still do that using all the equipment you've already got and spent your money on. So we still have the existing upper control arms both front and rear. Ryan chose not to go up in lift height, so we still have the 1.5-inch coils, but we added a few things to make this thing just dialed in better for off-road and trail riding. So we added a set of the JKS front quick disconnect sway bar end links, And this is perfect because Ryan's got a set of Rubicon axles under here. He's got the front rear lockers. He's got, you can see almost like the RCV style shafts on here. And he's got everything like that dialed in. However, he doesn't have the Rubicon sway bar disconnect. This gives him that ability by pulling 2 cotter pins, both the upper and the lower, and now you can articulate even more than you could in the past. The other addition that we added to this was 4 more control arms. So we still had stock lower control arms in both the front and the rear. Not only are you going to have a really beefy new control arm with a completely sealed and self-contained end joint on the back of here, but you're really going to look at the strength compared to these two. This is a front control arm next to the Clayton front control arm, and just look at the strength and the difference in material size. You can see how much thicker the Clayton lower control arm is versus the stock here, and even the joint here. This is a Mopar joint. You can see the knurled end, so that way it grabs on the inside of the control arm mount, but check it out compared to the Clayton one. So you've got a lot bigger of a joint in here. You can see the size of this is absolutely massive. That's going to help with larger tires and with reducing a lot of that road noise, vibration, everything else like that. These are really light too. So like, I mean, just picking this up, it's probably double the weight. I'd be happy to say it's double the weight of this. And you're really going to get a ton more strength for when we beating this thing up. Your lower control arms are where you're going to want some more strength because these are going to be sliding a little bit more on the rocks and obstacles when we're going over them. So just wanted to give you a side-by-side comparison of a stock versus Clayton control arm. So we added on that complete set. This helps us dial in the caster in the front and help us get a little bit better of a pinion angle and stretch out the rear if we need to. What's cool with that is that as Ryan is building this Jeep and really using it for what it's meant for, and with the maintenance-free bushings in those control arms, it's going to be perfect because it matches all the upper ones throughout the rest of the vehicle. But we didn't stop there. We did add one more puck when it came to the bump stops here, just because when Ryan is wheeling, when we disconnect the sway bar, he's going to get a lot more push up into this fender, and we have more room here, so we just wanted to make sure we had that dialed in. Joe at Locked and Loaded does a fantastic job. We actually throw this thing up on forklifts and pick it up and see exactly where we need to stop before we start destroying things up underneath the Jeep. But adding all this on was a breeze. The hardest part of all this is kind of starting with a lift kit height that you want. So obviously Ryan went with 1.5 inches. I've done 2.5s, I've done 3.5s, and my height, I like the 3.5s because, you know, I'm just such a tall guy, right, Ryan? I like to jump in and out of my Jeep. The 1.5 inches on this Jeep, I think, is the cool thing with Clayton, is that we can do all this underneath, and Ryan, I'm sure you'll pull up shots of us doing it there, but you don't have to take anything off. You can keep all of your existing lift kit. And you know, a lot of people say, well, what's your review, right? That's the title of this video, the review of the Clayton off-road kit. Of course we love these guys. I have ran pretty much any brand lift kit that you can think of, and I just kept coming back for Clayton for a few reasons, right? I like the quality. I like the fact that they're in Connecticut and most of the parts are made in the USA. I love the fact that I can call someone and talk to them on the phone, and the fact that you're not wasting money and you're buying a premium lift kit experience. They try and dial it in for every budget while giving you the highest quality. So that's the review of this, is that we love this 20,000 miles later. And the only thing that we've had to retorque down that came loose, and I'm not sure if it was after we did the axle swap or what it was, but one of the sway bar end link bolts underneath just started to loosen up, and that was noticed because we had a line on there so we could check it. I think we dropped your Jeep on the lower control arms, or mine, when we were up at AOA. These things, they've actually, I think they've said they've never really bent one of these control arms. So we have a lot of toughness when it comes to the underside of this Jeep. And yeah, the review of it, I'm not going to say it's non-biased, but after owning so many lift kits, these are the guys that we keep coming back to, and we're the only suspension company that's going to be on this channel. So we love working with them. But as we get into the end of this video, probably the coolest thing is that for this year, for 2024, Clayton Off-Road is giving some insane deals for Black Friday. Now, most of the year, the DRC 5 code always works for 5% off. These are our boys, so we like to help out our audience too. But getting up to 15% off is this year's Black Friday. They said it's their best sale, best deals that they've ever had, as well as if you buy the performance packages, the performance kits like I ran on my 392, you can get almost up to $1,000 off depending on the package that you go with. So if you've been waiting, if you're like, look, I want to wait, I want to see what they're doing for Black Friday, these deals should be live right now as the posting of this. If not, they're going to be right around the Black Friday time, so be sure to check on their website, and we'll leave a link down below. But if you've been waiting, now's kind of the time to do it. And if you do it the rest of the year, you can still get a little bit off, but this is a really great time for you to do it. And I think maybe with Ryan's Jeep too, I don't think we'll go any higher with the lift, even though we could throw a set of 2.5-inch coils on here. But I think a set of 37s might fill this Jeep out a little bit better and help him not get stuck on some of those trails. Cue the shot of you getting hung up on that one, Ryan. But that's what happens. I mean, you sacrifice tire height for ride quality, but then when you're off-road, you might hang up on your belly a little bit. I want to close this off and just give a thanks to Clayton Off-Road for working with us the way that they have. They've kind of really helped start this channel, grow it to where it is, and these guys are absolute great friends. We love going up, visiting with them, having pizza from the local New Haven, Connecticut pizza spots, and it's great when you can call someone picks up on the phone and they're ready to answer your real questions about a lift kit. From Ryan behind the camera and me right next to his Jeep with a great addition to his lift kit, we want you to get out there and earn yours.